Hi, I'm Rick Hayes with Hayes Aero. In this segment of the Aerolite 103 build, we're going to be covering the horizontal stabilizers. We'll go through a few key points that you need to make sure you are aware of before you start the covering process. For proper orientation of the horizontal stabilizer frames, you need to make sure these U-brackets are on the top side. That's so eventually you can rivet on these control cable fittings. Also on the skins, make sure the Velcro is up on the top side before sliding them onto the stabilizers. Something to keep in mind in the future is these 3/16 holes will eventually be the location to rivet your hinge fittings in. These fittings all have a hole that's the pilot hole closest to the bend. The long leg of the hinge always faces towards the long leg of the opposite hinge. When we put these in eventually, we'll rivet in with the pilot hole, line that up with the tube, then back drill the other holes through the fabric. Before you start to cover your Aerolite horizontal stabilizers, we need to make sure everything is in the right orientation. Make sure the 1 1/4 U channels are on the top side. And also make sure that your Velcro is on the top side also. The horizontal stabilizer skins go over the framework the same way they did on the vertical stabilizer. You start by inserting the dowels into these sleeves. Now all we need to do is the same thing we did as in a vertical stabilizer. We need to burn some holes through the attached zip ties to. So in a 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch from the end, and burn a hole through both sides. Same thing on the other sleeve, just offset it a little bit from the previous sleeve you just did. And we need to do the same thing on the opposite end. Again, offset this hole just a little bit from the one you just did. That gives you a spot to run the zip ties through. Now we're ready to slide the skin over the framework. Again, make sure the Velcro is on top, and make sure that these U-brackets are also up. Again, make sure your Velcro's straight down the center line of the rear tube. Once you have the skin slid on as far as you can pull them on by hand, then again we can use the vice grips to get a hold of that strap. Come in from the end. You can rock that around and that pulls that skin on tight. Then we do the same thing on the leading edge. Once that's pulled on as tight as you can get it, this is where we come in and run the zip ties through the holes in these sleeves around this tube and tighten things down. Once we have the skin slid on tight and we're sure the Velcro is straight down the center line of the rear tube, we have these zip ties drawn down tight against the bottom tube here. We want to stretch this just a little bit more, the vice grip on there. And as we've seen before on a vertical stabilizer, there's a 3/16 hole right there that we're going to rivet this strap to. We're going to snug that strap down there tight. And we're going to burn a hole through that strap into that 3/16 hole. Then we have a rivet with a thick washer on it. We're going to go through that hole. We're going to rivet that in place and hold that skin tight. We're going to do the same thing on the leading edge here. Lock that strap around tight. I'm going to burn the hole through 3/16 rivet with a thick washer. There we have the skin on. Once you have the skin slid on tight and the zip ties cut off and spun inside, you can go ahead and cut off these straps about 3/8 of an inch below the rivet. I use a soldering gun with an X-Acto knife blade on it. Also, we need to notch out the skin around this U-bracket. So I've already marked that out where I need to cut it. Use the same soldering iron. It's a good tight fit around the U-bracket. We need to do the same thing on the top skin with the Velcro. I've already marked that out. We'll go around that U-bracket. That gets you good tight fit around that U-bracket. Okay, we're ready to flip it over. Pull the Velcro up tight. And we're ready to move on to the second horizontal stabilizer.